bombing, mass killing, mass starvation. As a Palestinian, I just feel totally helpless.
It's impossible to have a conversation about Palestinian food without talking about starvation.
It's really sad because Gaza, it's a very fertile land. And now it's a dead land.
So what is Palestine to you?
Home.
In your head?
My country, home, my family, where I grew up. When we were kids, my mom and dad took us to the hills. We just go out and forage for different herbs and berries.
Where will these things come from in a world in which the settlers have taken over the hills in the West Bank and Gaza has been destroyed?
This is what we need to save.
Hello and welcome to Ways to Change the World. I'm Krishnan Gurumurthy, and this is the podcast in which we talk to extraordinary people about the big ideas in their lives and the events that have helped shape them. My guest today is the renowned Palestinian chef, author and restaurateur. Sami Tamimi is one of the brains behind the hugely successful and influential Ottolenghi restaurant, which he launched with his friend and longtime collaborator, Yotam Ottolenghi, who's also been a guest on this podcast. The pair co-wrote the bestselling cookbook Jerusalem, and more recently, Sami has written Falastin and Boustany, a powerful celebration of Palestinian food and culture. He says that in Palestine, food is political, and never more so than right now. Sami, welcome.
Thank you very much.
How do you want to change the world?
Sack all the politicians. Perhaps we can also put women in charge. I think, men proved it wrong so far. And especially because of what's happening now back home in Palestine and Gaza, which is a big game, bigger than us as humans. And it's a political kind of game that's been played for so long now. And people are suffering, people are dying, mass bombing, mass killing, mass starvation, which is really kind of bad for humanity.
Now, you grew up in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
And then came to this country to work. Where's your family?
All my siblings are in Jerusalem. They all live around Jerusalem. They're lucky in a way because they all live in Jerusalem, which is slightly safer, and there are a lot of them, so they look after each other. But the situation there is still really, really bad. Any day it can just take off, and I fear for them as well.
I mean, it's impossible to have a conversation about Palestinian food without talking about starvation.
Correct.
Famine has been declared by the UN body, the IPC, in Gaza. So how does that feel for you as somebody whose life is food?
Quite bad. I kind of took a stand on social media. I stopped posting food because although, my book, Boustany just came out, and I find it quite difficult navigating through. I promote food and Palestinian culture, and this is something that I've been doing now for 20 years, and to be able to talk about food without not acknowledging what's happening in Gaza, it's too kind of difficult emotionally, but also I feel for all these people that been trapped there and they did nothing to deserve this. Nobody actually deserved to be treated like that, or to be food to be taken, to weaponize and to control people by starvation. But at the same time, my role, I see it also clear. I talk about the Palestinian culture and food, and I have a role there where I promote it and I want to talk about it, and I want to show that it's not just black and white. There's quite a lot of gray areas, and we are a nation. We are coming from. We have our tradition and food and celebration and sadness, and we are human. And this is what I'm trying to say here with my writing.
So, what is your emotional link to the starvation there right now? I mean, as a Palestinian.
As a Palestinian, I just feel totally helpless, and I feel anger as well. I try to help as much by promoting, donating, spreading the word. But at the same time, what can we do as human? It's just we can just do it as much as we can to help the situation.
I mean, you said Palestine, all Palestinian food is political before all of this.
Yeah.
What did you mean by that?
I mean, everything that you touch in this region turned politics. And there's always somebody that kind of especially I find it on social media or when I do talks, people throw all sorts of messages or questions or challenges in front of you. And you just kind of you think, okay, I'm just going to challenge. I'm going to take the challenge, kind of talk about that. And you talk about it. The more you talk about it, the more it's so clear that this person threw this question at you just because they feel like they're right to challenge you. But deep down in it, they know nothing about the situation or where it started. They just see this kind of shallow, what happened 2.5 years ago in Israel, Palestine, didn't start there. It started way back, 75, 80 years ago. But we don't see that because all they see from people, I find it really, really kind of frustrating with people because you can say this table is red and they'll tell you, no, it's green and so on. And there's no way you can convince them. But at the same time, you need to have a stand and just kind of say, this is the right. I have my memories. My family is still there. They've been there for hundreds of years. And you can't take that from me. I can't let you, because the argument here is whether Palestine is Palestine and whether it's there or been there, or do they have a culture, do they have food, and all that.
Is that what people say, that there's no such thing as Palestinian anything?
Constantly, all the time.
Because it was never a country.
Yeah, exactly. Because it wasn't established, it doesn't mean that it wasn't a country. It was, Palestinians were ahead of their time. They were ahead of time in many aspects of life.
So what is Palestine to you?
Home.
In your head?
My country, home, my family, where I grew up, my memories, the food I grew up and borrowed from, the food that I cook nowadays and celebrate in a way that I want to share it with other people, but also I want to share it with Palestinians that never been to Palestine. They don't know about these culture aspects and the memories and the food and the culture.
But do you think of it as a place, or do you think of it as a culture?
It's home. It is a place.
And what is that place?
It's
and how does it relate to Israel in your mind?
Palestine is, for me, it's the connection to the land, to the farming, to entrepreneur, and to the celebration. They are lovely people. Jerusalem, Nablus, Jericho, Bethlehem, all these places, all these cities are big part of the country, which is called Palestine. Regardless to what Israel is nowadays, Palestine was there before.
And so Palestine exists, in your heart as a place that is legally now part of Israel. Is that what you're saying?
Well, not part of it. I mean, I grew up, I left 25 years ago. I grew up in the 70s there, and the situation was different. But also at the same time, Israel and Palestine were two separate places. And nowadays, Israel is trying to take over what was left from Palestine. Started with Gaza, and now they're taking also the West Bank.
And what do you think the aim is? Israel is talking about total victory.
But what are you going to do with over 5 million Palestinians? I mean, you can't just go and kill all of them or just kick them out of the countries. And they belong there. They've been there for ages, generations. They have their culture, they have their land, they have their houses, kids and nephews, and I don't know what situation, what's a solution for that, but it needs to be sought from, I think, from the outside, because the inside is not going to be finding the solution for it.
Do you feel they are trying to deliver the Trump plan to get rid of the Palestinians from that land by saying, well, go and live in Egypt or Iraq or Jordan or somewhere else?
That's ridiculous. And I think after Trump, somebody else will come. But hopefully whoever comes after Trump will try to find a different solution because you can't, the whole region has just been livid and killing each other for so long, and it needs to stop. Palestinians need to have their rights, and they need to have the right to return home and state.
Do you go back?
I do, but a lot. I haven't been since October 7. But I used to go a few times a year.
And how did you feel about going back?
Not great. I am a non-person there, but I've been treated so far.
What do you mean, a non-person?
Israelis, Palestinians know me as a this kind of known chef that write and talk and have restaurants. And I, as an Arab Palestinian, I get treated like a second-class citizen.
What happens?
Just it's so segregated, and non-Jewish treated differently, and for an Arab Palestinian, you treated even worse than just a non-Jewish.
Can you give me some examples? Because I think people really don't understand what you mean by that.
Any day, you'd be just walking down just kind of down the street, and somebody will give me an identity card or passport, and they give you a hard time, and no reason for it apart from the fact that you're Palestinian. Or when you go to the airport, leaving the country, you'll be queuing in a different queue and be waiting for hours, and they'll search your stuff, and really unpleasantly as well.
So what passport have you got?
I have British, luckily, but also I have an Israeli one.
So you are an Israeli?
Only on paper.
On paper? Yeah.
I don't consider myself Israeli.
Just unpack that. What do you mean by that?
I am Palestinian.
And so why haven't you gone back since October 7th?
Because I'm quite outspoken on social media, and knowing a lot of Palestinians mainly who spoke up, got prisoned or got hassled. And I know the minute I land back home, I'll be probably taken to prison.
You're afraid of that?
Yeah. As long as this government is going on, I am not going to go back. Simple.
Then let's talk about your partnership a little bit. You're still a partner, a silent partner now in Ottolenghi.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why you in a way you were always the silent partner?
Yeah,
because Yotam Ottolenghi was the front man. So why was he the front man?
Because he chose it. I didn't want to be in business like that, one of us have to kind of run the back and one the front. He was running the front. And he wanted to be this kind of the front of the business. And I was happy to cook in and manage in and run in the business. And it was fine. But I don't regret anything. But if I have to take it back a few years back, I would just change it slightly. But I'm pretty much happy to be the silent one.
Right. And when you say you change it, I mean...
I would just kind of change the thing that we used to say in the past as a Palestinian and Israeli, two friends, two partners, business partners, I mean. And I would just give the Palestinian side a little bit more kind of...
A little bit more profile.
Yeah.
I mean, was there any sense in which you felt you were going to be more successful with an Israeli frontman than a Palestinian?
No, I mean, the whole thing started with us being friends. We worked together before we started the whole Ottolenghi, and we opened it on a kind of a friendship kind of relationship. And honestly, we didn't even think about it that far or how successful it is. We just wanted to do some nice food to sell people, and it just took off so quickly. At the time, also, we never really talked about politics. Our food was never like Israeli or Palestinian. It was a regional kind of Middle Eastern, Mediterranean in a way. It's not even kind of challenging it. It was clear that we didn't want to do Palestinian food because it's wrong. But at the same time, after Jerusalem came out, the cookbook, people started labeling us. It's like, this is an Israeli place, this is a Palestinian place. The book is an Israeli, no, it's Palestinian. And this has really bothered me. And this is, I think, when all the trouble started to kind of come out, like little crack of just kind of, we still, nothing wrong happened between us, but I was not comfortable with it being labeled as Israeli because I am half of that business.
Yes. I mean, Yotam, we talked very openly about how there was quite a lot of cultural appropriation of food, and that Israeli food is Palestinian food.
Yeah.
Do you feel you should have been more clear about that?
See, I need to clear that because our food in the restaurants was never defined. We kind of, it was a multicultural thing. We never defined it as a Palestinian, or when we didn't serve any Palestinian food. With Yotam's writing, he did take a lot of Palestinian dishes and kind of talked about them and cooked them and published them as well. And this is where the whole kind of saga with the conflict started.
Right.
Whether he appropriated the food or not.
And so how did you see that conflict?
I see it as other people. I didn't see it.
It wasn't a conflict for you.
It wasn't for me, but I was part of the business. But I can't have control of what he can write and publish.
And so was that difficult for you?
As a friend, then I didn't think it's a problem, but now I see it, it's so clear.
Explain.
I think when you cook pasta, for example, I cook pasta a lot, and I never say this is mine. But also, I don't have conflicts with Italy, where when you touch Israel, Palestine, it's immediately brings this political kind of problem between, and cooking the food, although he did acknowledge that, it's Palestinian, as an Israeli, I would probably stay away from it.
You mean you'd steer away from the conversation?
Because, whatever you do, like I said earlier, whatever you touch in this region turns into politics. He should have known better. He thought, I don't know, I don't want to talk for him, but he probably thought it's good to promote Palestinian food, but actually he was appropriating it in a way, kind of.
And did you argue about it?
No, it's not for me to argue. It's his. It's his writing. He chooses what he wants to do. He is a successful food writer, with or without the business.
How did you become friends?
We just worked together, and we realized that I speak Hebrew, he speak Arabic. Two gay guys, new in London. We just bonded because we had a lot in common. Also, we didn't really have many friends, so it's kind of, we became friends.
Can I ask you about being gay in Jerusalem as well?
Of course.
I mean, how easy was that as a Palestinian?
Not easy for me because I couldn't talk to my family about it. I had to kind of take myself out of, because I lived in a very conservative and protective kind of environment, and the family were not kind of, they know now, but we never talk about it, which is fine.
Okay, well, let's talk about the food itself then.
Yeah.
What is it you want to communicate about Palestinian food and what it is?
I mean, food for me, it's a passion, but also food for me, a tool. I can, for me, talking to people and connecting with people through food. And food's something that we all connect on, whether we like to eat or cook or share or eat together. And you can say quite a lot through food and recipes and cookbooks. And people not necessarily will sit and read a book about the history of Palestine. Through a cookbook, you can say quite a lot, and people are willing to sit and read about it. But also, I feel like there's a whole shift in cookbooks writing, and people that buy these cookbooks want to zoom more on where exactly this food comes, what's the history, what's the logic, what's the kind of culture behind it, who made it, why is it called this way, when is it made? And this is wonderful for me as a Palestinian writer, because I can talk about a lot of subjects that related to Palestinian history, culture, and the food as well.
I mean, there are two things you make clear right at the beginning of the book, which is that so much of Palestine was about agriculture.
Yeah.
But also a lot of the the things that make Palestinian food tasty, the spice, is from foraging. Just explain this.
I mean, we are Palestinian naturally are farmers. I mean, we are we have a really strong, deep connection to the land and farming and the seasons, but also to the surrounding and foraging, and where this connection is really, really deep in our culture as well. And I remember when we were kids, my mom and dad took us to the hills or up parts of the Palestine where we just go out and forage for different herbs and berries and greens. And this is something that it will disappear eventually, because Palestinian land have been taken and shrinked, and people don't have access to the land, though, but also to the hills, especially in the West Bank, because it's such a closed kind of area that you don't have this. The culture will stop at some point, because people are not going to be able to do the seasonal thing, which, going out like I did with my parents and pick all these wonderful things to cook and eat, but also preserving this culture. It will, next generations will lose that as well. And it's really important for me to write about it, because I have all these wonderful memories that kind of related to all of what I mentioned. And I worry that one day they're going to get lost. So documenting them in a cookbook, which I think it's wonderful when Palestinian kids want to one day kind of read about it.
So what are the flavors that you go picking in the hills?
We have from dandelion to jute mellow to different kind of chicory that we used to. There's quite a lot of berries and mulberries and wild figs, sage and za'atar, which is a same family as oregano, and different medicinal herbs as well.
So where will these things come from in a world in which the settlers have taken over the hills in the West Bank and Gaza has been destroyed?
This is what we need to save. This is what need to be fixed, because if we just keep killing it, it is going to die, and we just need to save it.
When you've seen the images in the last few days of Gaza flattened, absolutely destroyed, what has been your
It's really
reaction?
sad, because Gaza, I'm kind of preparing for an article now, and I'm reading about the whole cuisine of Palestinian, but also Gazan. And Gazan, they were displaced. They were not all originally from there. They are also the original Gazan, but it's a very fertile land. And it was always, and produced the most wonderful strawberries and chilies and roses. And now it's a dead land. It will take generation to bring it back to be able to grow anything there. And it's what we human beings do to our kind of world.
How important is it to bring it back?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what kind of bombs they use, but and I'm not an expert in these things. But it's a dead land at the moment.
Yeah, but I mean, what I mean is, like, in order to preserve that culture, what do you do? I mean, do you recreate it on land that is currently dead and poisoned, or what? I mean, not all the land in Gaza is dead, and they still can, but digging all the rubble and excavating all the layers of damage, it will take a few years. But for me, as a food writer and a chef, I write about it, talk about it, I cook it, I let people cook it as well and experience it. And there is more than just people getting bombed and being starved and being killed. They have stories. They are humans. They have, they cherish a lot of things that I write about, from food to culture to foraging to the connection to the land. I wanted to ask you about being a restaurateur as well. I mean, you were deeply involved in running the Ottolenghi restaurants and the other restaurants in the group. I mean, running restaurants is famously exhausting, difficult, emotionally draining. Did you find it all of those things?
Yeah, and this is why I stopped 5 years ago, because the company constantly expanded, and I struggled. I struggled because I thought this is not what I wanted to do. In 5 years' time, I achieved a lot. I have 3 cookbooks behind me, and I'm doing really well. But I wanted to find the corner where I can just say I am also happy. And running 6 kitchens and 70 staff was not my point of happiness. And I stopped because I also went through an open heart surgery like a couple of years before that. And I needed to slow down, and I needed to also enjoy what I achieved. And I couldn't do that running a restaurant.
So you just left?
I said, I did my bit. It's now for whoever wants to take over, or the next generation. The company is still expanding, and I'm glad that I'm not part of it, because I'll probably be dead by now.
You went to Italy.
I have a place in Italy.
Yeah, to your house there.
Yeah.
And you said you had a bit of a meltdown.
Yeah.
What did you mean by that?
Because having been part of a wonderful 20 years, and I really had a lot of fun, it's hard because it's like leaving your family. It's and you doubt yourself whether you are doing the right things or not. And but I knew deep inside that I needed to leave. But also at the same time, you think, I don't want to disappoint all these people that I was part of for so many years. And this is the meltdown. It's also doing the step, but also feeling comfortable that I can actually stand on my feet and continue in a different direction. And I'm still standing. And
from that came this book?
It started just before COVID, and COVID was the kind of push to go to Italy. And when you're in a situation like COVID, you feel very homesick, and you want the connection with the family and with the memories, with the food as well. And I was lucky because it was spring, and the climate in Umbria is very similar to Jerusalem. So I just went out for long walks and picked different things. I started cooking at home. And this really brought me a lot of comfort, and also brought me really closer to where I grew up, which is Jerusalem, and the family. Constantly my sister, do you remember this herb? How do you do it? And this is kind of a connection that I missed as well. But I also realized that I always had it. And I started just writing notes. And only when we got back to London that I started thinking, there's so many memories and so much knowledge that if I don't write it down, it will get lost. And so I started talking to friends about the idea of Boustany. And my ex-editor called me. It's like, whatever you're working on, I'm going to publish. And this just gave me the whole push to do it.
And how important was it to you to say this is Palestinian food? And because so much of the food that you're writing about and that you make, you can find something either the same or very similar in Lebanon, Syria, Israel, a lot of the countries around that region. So what is it that makes it distinctly Palestinian?
The fact that I grew up in Palestine and had it and cooked it. No, and also because, yes, there is quite a lot of shared food and dishes, but also like anything in the Middle East, but also in Palestine as well. Each household does it slightly different. Palestinian food tend to be quite a lot more earthy and robust and well balanced with the flavor, but also as it could really connect you to preserving the food, to the land, to the farming, to what grows around. And foraging was also part of the cuisine, and it still is.
Who taught you to cook?
I taught myself. I'm a self-taught Christian. I wasn't encouraged to be cooked at home. The opposite, actually. When I was so curious about it the whole time, and it's pretty much a woman kind of space, and I was always just kind of kicked out and just go and play with your friends and. So yeah, I was kind of. I grew up in a total obsessed kind of household, And this is something that stayed with you. And I feel like I inherited, but also, I skilled it. I took it and kind of worked on it, and something that I should be also proud of.
Why is it then that a lot of the sort of better known restaurants, whether they're Palestinian or Syrian, in London particularly, are created by men?
Because it's physically hard to stand on your feet for so long. And it is changing now, but it's not just the Middle Eastern and the Palestinian.
No, that's every
restaurant.
Yeah.
Because it's a demanding physical job that sometimes you have to stand 16 hours on your feet. And men are, slightly stronger than women.
That's a controversial thing to say.
I know, but I come from this industry, and I know, it is changing, and it's really good to see so many women now in the industry. But, for many years, it was only a male thing.
Yes. You don't think that it's just sort of actually just a sexist industry?
No.
Rather than...
No. Also, it's just, because it was pretty much testosterone, male, kind of big egos, and it's changing. It's been changing. I have a kind of a hand to changing that as well, because with Ottolenghi, we welcomed everybody, whether female or male.
Well, then, let me come back to the whole question of, you said you've been very vocal on social media since October the 7th, in particular. Has that been problematic for you? In terms of...
it bothered me. From visit that I used to go home, and things are changing to the worse, and it really bothered me. But I kept it in because I thought, it's not my place to talk about politics. But then when October happened, I was in Jerusalem, and I was meant to spend some time with my siblings. It was not a safe place for a Palestinian. You couldn't even walk up the street, and they lived 10 minutes from where I was staying. So I have to leave the country, and I really feared for their safety. I feared for my safety as well when I was there, but also for their safety. And it really bothered me that people keep pointing out that it's a Hamas and October 7 where it kicked in, but actually it's been going on for the last 80 years.
And have you lost any friendships over this?
A lot of people. A lot of people that I thought we are close, and they are either unfollowed me on social media, stopped talking to me, and it's really hurtful. But at the same time, I'm thinking I'm not going to sit and cry about what happened, because if they want to be friends with me, they just need to bite the bullet and just kind of deal with it. And also at the same time, I think I don't want to be friends with somebody that can't even face humanity and reality and just say, they don't need to do much. Just text me, say, are you okay? Are your family okay? And this is it. This is just showing you. But also, there's so much going on at the moment, and I'm still dealing with friends saying, this is not wrong. This is the way it is. This is how it happened. And I'm really fed up with that.
Close friends?
Yeah, I lost quite a lot of close friends. I had a huge fight with an Israeli friend of mine. She was my friend for 25 years. And we had a fight, and we stopped talking.
That's very sad.
It is very sad, but also you just feel like, in a situation like all you want is somebody to tap your shoulder and say, are you okay? And when you don't have these people, you think they're not really friends.
What's your hope then now?
I really hope that this whole madness of this whole government in Israel stops. And but if America and Trump is promoting it and supporting it, then it's not going to stop. And then people are dying. There are real, genuine people that are dying, and it's really, really sad.
Sami Tamimi, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, then give us a rating or a review, and then other people will find the podcast. You can watch all of these interviews on the Channel 4 News YouTube channel. Until next time, bye-bye.